Beware. Beware the words.
The words? What do you mean?
Contagious words.
Oh, that's probably talking about the Black Scroll.
Those who dream.
Those who dream?
Hold a moment. There is a strange new sensation in my mind.
Vice's voice rose in a quizzical way.
It is not quizzical.
What's going on?
The villager's body shuddered as he slowly opened his eyes.
Perhaps we should start by asking this man.
Who are you?
We heard something happened to this village, so we came to see if we could help.
The mayor stared at Azure and Vice.
If you can speak to me, I must have caught you in my dream.
In your dream?
The mayor explained. In the past few weeks, a mysterious disease called the Death Dream had spread across the forest of myth. Those who caught it were cursed to fall asleep and live forever in the world inside their own dreams. The village mayor determined the Death Dream would spread from person to person by spoken words, but before he could learn more, the disease took him as well. Vice stared at the mayor, his mouth twitching slightly.
Now see here. Are you saying that we have been absorbed into your dream?
Well, yes. I think you have.
In other words, we've caught the Death Dream?
Before the mayor could confirm Azure's suspicion, Vice exploded with rage.
Ridiculous. Preposterous. Completely unfathomable on every conceivable level. I don't even recall falling asleep.
I like how the text box is starting to take over the screen right now. That's actually a really nice touch.
That's just how the death dream works.
Though polite, the mayor was clearly trying to brush aside the book's remarks.
My remarks are not to be brushed aside, fool.
The mayor twisted his mouth into an embarrassed grimace, then quickly changed the subject to who Azure had seen and what they discussed since coming to the village.
Something there must have caused you to enter my dream.
Best man!
Oh,
A certain conversation, a specific word.
Oh god, I forgot how loud my alert is, but then again, that's the reason why I have them loud, so that I could, so I know that I'm getting the notification. Azure and Vice racked their brains, but could find no easy solutions. There were simply too many words to consider, too much random chatter, too many meaningless conversations.
Grimoire Vice does not engage in meaningless conversations.
The mere suggestion that Vice chose this word carelessly seemed to sting his pride. Oh my god, this entire screen is like basically black now except for this text.
It does not seem to sting my pride, you bloated gasbag of a narrator. It has demolished it utterly.
Irritated, Vice looked skyward, as if searching for answers in the heavens.
I was doing no such thing. Just leave me alone already.
The anger created by his harsh words bled over to Azure like a contagion. Oh shit, the entire screen's black. Wait, Azure said suddenly. Did someone say contagion? Yes, I believe so. What of it? Well, that villager told us to watch out for contagious words, right? The mayor leaned forward with renewed interest, pushing his startled Vice aside in the process. He must have said something, right? Asked the mayor. Some specific combination of words? What was it? It was about dreaming, or something that dreams, or... Oh, what the hell was it? A sheep? Cried Vice suddenly, blurring the first thing that popped into his head. The others stared at him for a moment before shaking their heads. A few more minutes of thought, Azure's face suddenly lit up. I remember, he said. Those who dream. That's what he said, I'm sure of it. At this, the mayor produced a thick sheaf of papers from his pocket. He flipped through them a few times before finally nodding his approval at Azure. That sounds about right, he said. A stray sheet of paper fluttered to the ground. My notes also mentioned something about that. I bet it was the last thing you heard before you fell asleep. The mayor shook his head, his worn pencil stub tracing lines across a lone sheet of paper. For the last month, I've done nothing but study a disease that we call the Death Dream, he said. I mean, I'm the mayor, right? It's my job to protect people from whatever comes along. But I never expected a couple of outsiders to start entering people's dreams. The mayor paused, a grimace crossing his face. I should probably be taking notes or something. Vice immediately fired back. I applaud the force of will it takes to research a disease in your dreams, he said. But perhaps we should bend your efforts to escaping this place instead of trying to understand it. The mayor's hand tightened around a pencil, snapping off its tip. I've tried to escape. From the very first moment I was locked inside my own dream, I've been looking for a way out, but I don't think it exists. I mean, this is my dream, right? If there was an exit, I'd know about it. He paused for a moment, his unfocused eyes staring at nothing. My village was beautiful, he said to no one in particular, and it was filled with the most wonderful people you could ever hope to meet. But once this disease took hold, things changed. It's like someone took a sponge and soaked all the color out of our lives. I just want us to be whole again. I want us to be free, and I won't stop trying until it happens. Azure nodded in agreement. Huh? Wait a second. I didn't nod. Look, if we could be of any help, said Azure. Just ask. Now hold on. I did not just say that. Silence, cried Weiss. The Grimoire looked down at Azure and the mayor and back again, his face filling with confidence. Grimoire Weiss's face is always confident, thank you very much. Now see here, Mayor. You told us that nothing can exist in this dream without your knowing of it. But you seem surprised to see us when you first arrived, yes? The mayor slowly raised his head, realization drawing on his face. Oh my god, he said. You're right. You're right. I had no idea you were coming. The human imagination is such a limitless engine, said Weiss. And dreams are the fuel. If you can imagine an exit, then it must be so. With your permission, we shall search it out. Thank you, said the mayor. I don't know how I can repay you. Payment is not required. We are eager to do as you are done with this place. The mayor suddenly felt as he could breathe again. He'd almost forgotten what it was like. Good luck, you two, he cried to the departing forms of Azure and Weiss. We're all counting on you. As Azure slowly faded into the misty forest, the mayor was struck with a sense of deja vu. I saw this man once before, he thought. But where? Azure's mood darkened as he charged through the forest. Hours earlier, when the beauty of the place was still a new thing, he was confident they could get in, find the exit, and be home in time for dinner. But the deeper they went, the more the forest closed in around him. The mist made it difficult to see more than a foot in any direction. The moss-covered rocks seemed determined to twist his ankle. More than once he'd been forced to steady himself on the rough bark of a tree, and his hands now left small trails of blood on everything he touched. Additionally, Weiss was proving to be a spectacularly poor traveling companion. Unhindered by either terrain or physical effort, he spent most of his time urging Azure to pick up the pace and grumbling about their slow progress. Finally, Weiss uttered something about legless turtles being more adept at navigating the environment. Azure snapped. Okay, Weiss, cram it for a second, would you? You don't have to walk. Azure leaned against a tree and tried to stretch the knots from his back. How could this stupid forest be so big? He muttered to himself. The moment the words tumbled from his mouth, a cacophony of insects sprang to life. Every imaginable form of buzz, click, and hiss roared out in a volume that rattled his teeth. Azure slapped his hands over his ears and screamed to be heard. Weiss, what's going on? Azure could see Weiss's mouth moving, but he might as well have been shouting in a tornado. The insects screamed, the forest howled. And then, just as Azure's ears seemed ready to tear from his head and go running for cover, the sound diminished. Hesitantly, he removed the hand from his left ear and listened to the creatures of the woods. I am not going to try doing insect noises. Shuck! I'm not doing this. Fuck trying to do insect noises, man. I can't do an entire insect noise thing. As the insect cacophony dimmed as another decibel, Azure began to detect patterns in the sound. This isn't random, he thought. It's not just white noise. It's something else. The insects weren't just calling out. They were asking a question. 1, with it is lacking. 2, with it is ideal. 3, with it is dangerous. What is it? By my pages, is this a riddle? I guess so. I mean, it feels kind of forced, But maybe it's the key to getting out of this place. Then I leave it to you to answer. 1 with it is lacking. 2 with it is ideal. 3 with it is dangerous. What is it? A seesaw. Right? The answer is a seesaw. Something that's ideal with 2 people, but dangerous with 3. Oh, it's a seesaw. Vice's mouth flew open before he could say anything. The world suddenly shifted. When Azure came to, he was surrounded by the sounds of insects. The cries of insects are creating words he had heard somewhere before. What? Oh, God. Okay, it was wrong. Oh, I see. It's secret. Inwardly furious that Vice left the task to him, Azure sighed and gave the only answer that made sense. It's a secret. Right? The sound of insects stopped suddenly as it began. The forest undergrowth parted before Azure like a rippling wave, opening a new path. These forest arthropods are making a road for us, said Vice with glee. Pleased at passing the test, Azure moved on with new intensity. The path offered his body relief from the undergrowth, but gave even greater cheer to his mind. As long as they were on a path, their journey had a purpose. I guess the forest accepted us, huh? Said Azure after a bit. Vice spun around to face his companion. Do not mistake the will of the forest for some happy pet you could suddenly befriend. We have no idea where this path leads. As Vice finished speaking, the pair turned a corner and found themselves facing a clear forest spring. Smiling, Azure picked up a small rock and set it skipping across the surface of the water. Good heavens, said Vice. His surprise was understandable. Each time the rock struck the surface of water, a musical note rang out. When the rock finally stopped moving and sank to the bottom of the spring, the ripples it left behind came together to form words. I enter through the window, but break no glass. When night falls, I vanish. What am I? Oh, sunlight! Absurdly easy, barked Weiss. Now answer it. Azure grit his teeth and tried not to strangle his companion. He's right after all. This one is pretty easy. I enter through the window, but break no glass. When night falls, I vanish. What am I? Sunlight! Sunlight! A plume of water suddenly burst from the spring. Sunlight filtered through the tears and reflected off the plume, creating a shimmering shadow, a rainbow, that spanned the entire horizon. In all my years, said Vice softly, I have never seen such a sight. Man, it is so hard to try and imitate Liam O'Brien. Like, Liam O'Brien brings such a smug sarcasm to being Grimoire Vice that it's really hard to imitate. So I'm trying my hardest, and I'm sorry if I'm ruining it. But, like, honestly, it's really fun doing this this text adventure because fuck you, Yoko Taro. Perhaps I've misunderstood the intentions of this place. Hey, look, said Azure, awakening Vice from his daze. There's a house or something over there. Glancing in the direction of his friend's extended hand, Vice saw a small cottage nestled among the trees. That's weird, isn't it, Vice? I mean, who'd build a house all the way out here? Azure walked over and pounded on the door. After a minute's solid banging, the door cracked open and a small man peered out. His body was cloaked from neck to toe in a large black cape, while his face was obscured by mist. Began Azure. Before he could get any further, the cloaked man held a hand up and began speaking. I have 4 legs in the morning and 2 at noon, but at night with 3. What am I? Azure tried to ask the cloaked man who he was and what he was doing here, but he simply repeated the question. If we wish to engage with this man in conversation, said Vice, it seems we must answer his riddle. Yeah, I suppose, said Azure. At least it's an easy one. I have 4 legs in the morning and 2 at noon, but at night with 3. What am I? A man. Okay, so, funny enough, the only reason why I know this one is because there was an old show that was on the Fox box. Let me see here. Actually, I think they might have actually done this one in Digimon. But what's it called? I'm not sure if anyone remembers this old show, but it was called Flint the Time Detective. And that's how I know this answer. A man. A man. The mist dissolved from the cloaked figure as he spoke a single word. Correct. With that, the man flung his garment aside, revealing his true identity. You're the mayor! Cried Azure. The small man slowly shook his head. I am not the mayor you know. Now listen to my words. Long ago, I saw a version of you that was not yourself. Sorry? What does that mean? It will make sense in time. At present, I must simply congratulate you on cracking the seal of the Death Dream. Now you must go to the person at the forest entrance. And with that, the man turned on his heel and slammed the door behind him. As Azure watched, mist seeped up from the ground and enveloped the college, erasing it from existence. When Azure and Vice returned to the forest entrance, they found the mayor leaning against a tree. As soon as he caught sight of the duo, he sprang to his feet and scrabbled over to them. Good gravy, he cried. You made it! You actually made it back. His left hand grasped Azure's and pumped it so fiercely it threatened to dislodge it from the socket, while his right side's Vice found the cover and swung him through the air. Gah! By the heavens! Stop shaking me, fool! You have not even told you were successful or not. The mayor smiled broadly and shook his head. I'm just happy you're alive. I didn't think I'd ever see you again. Azure withdrew himself from the mayor's eager handshake with a slight smile. We broke the Death Dream's seal, he said. At least, I think we did. The mayor's face beamed as Azure filled him on details. When the tale was done, the three of them laid down on the forest ground and fell asleep. Azure cocked his head. Okay, hang on a second. This is crazy. Why would we lay down and go to sleep? Cease your endless prattle and go to sleep, fool. Fighting against the rules of this place is futility itself. Azure and the mayor obediently reclined atop the grassy earth. Have you forgotten, continued Vice. It is words that control the Death Dream, words that allow us to move from place to place. No matter how unnatural they seem, the words are absolute. Therefore, if the words tell us to sleep, then sleep we shall. And once we do, the story will continue. And with that, the trio found their eyes growing heavy, their breath slowing. This is the first time, began the mayor. The first time I felt tired since I was imprisoned here. His words were cut off by a loud, long yawn. And he remembered nothing more. They might have slept for an hour or a year. When they awoke, things had a slightly more real quality to them. The mist felt thicker, the leaves greener. It was clear they had awakened from their dream. Azure shook the mayor's shoulder greatly. Good news, he said. I think we made it. Oh, wow, said the mayor in an odd voice. We did. I'm back. He blinked once, then again, as if not quite believing the sight before him. You two have no idea how much this means. The Death Dream was spreading through our village, and I wanted to... Well, I thought I could figure out how to stop it, but that wasn't the case. I must have caught the disease and become trapped in my own dream. The mayor started to stand and collapsed back to the earth. He stared at his legs as they're trying to remember how they worked and glanced at Azure and shrugged. Without a word, the young man reached down and pulled the mayor to his feet. Real life may take some time getting used to, said the mayor, as a wry smile crossed his lips. You shall learn in short order, I am sure, said Vice. For now, you should return to your home and rest. No, said the mayor, swaying on his unsteady feet. I can't. Some of the villagers are still trapped in the Death Dream. I have to save them. The mayor slowly made his way to the divine tree at the center of the village and bowed his head and prayed silently. This is a holy tree, he explained when the prayer was finished. It's the guardian of our village's history and memories. Superstition will only make our mission harder, muttered Vice. We should not put our faith in the gods. The mayor shook his head. Not the gods, the words. Legend says that our tree is home to a powerful magic known as a sealed verse. Azure and Vice could not contain their surprise, seeing that a goal had been found in the most unexpected of places. I say, muttered Vice, this is certainly a stroke of luck. The three of them said their goodbyes. Azure mentioned the strange man who had given them the third riddle and mysterious words he had left them with. I once saw a vision of you that was not yourself, muttered the mayor. What in the world does that mean? Lost in thought, he stared into space a long moment. You know, he said softly, this is going to sound odd, but I had the feeling I'd seen you before too. Azure tried to keep a straight face and failed, but the mayor didn't seem to notice. Deja vu, right? I just figured some kind of illusion created by the Death Dream. Probably doesn't mean anything. Azure gave the mayor a nod and a smile, but inwardly his thoughts were racing. There's something wrong with the mayor and his words. And what exactly is going on here? That riddle will prove to be the most difficult one of all.
Oh, thank you so much. Now I can finally return to a normal life.
This is one of the most bizarre diseases I have ever encountered.
I know. That's why we have to help the other villagers, no matter what.
Oh, hell yes, I got Dark Execution.
For a sealed verse, that didn't take much effort.
Yes, all a touch too easy if you ask me. It's almost as if someone was guiding us to this village.
Don't overthink advice. This person must be dreaming too.
It would appear that way, yes.
Okay, let's do
Can't
this.
say I'm very excited to...
Perhaps you should spend less time complaining and more time getting on with the mission.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not gonna read it this time. Like, as fun as it was doing the other one, like I think these are optional story. Wait, no, this is not optional. I have to save them all. Give me a moment. Whew. Okay. I'm not gonna try reading the voices anymore. Actually, no. It's actually pretty fun. It's actually pretty fun trying to imitate Liam O'Brien, even though it's like damn near impossible for me. So let's do this. It's time for story time with Azure. I breathe air scented with death and resist the urge to laugh, for I know it will sound like the words of a madman. How long have I been in this fresh hell? My box, my prison, is tucked beneath a stairway in the long, unused catacombs of some infinite castle. Outside, I hear the words of a funeral dirge that plays without end. Light has no place here. Wind is a forgotten friend. I pray for death to come, but he forsakes me. Time passes. An eternity slips by in a single tick of the clock. Someone knocks on my prison. Anyone there? I hear an unfamiliar voice say. My savior! I claw the door of my jail, embedding thick splinters under my ragged nails. I scream for help. I laugh. I sob. Surely this is a product of my addled mind. Surely it cannot be true. Help me, I cry. For the love of all gods, help me. Impossibly, I hear the sound of a lock being torn out and falling to the floor. As the door slowly creaks open, I just have enough time to see the silver-haired boy in a floating book before the light pours outside. My eyes, accustomed to blackness, explode with pain. I am forced to turn away. Who are you? I ask, shaking hands covering my face. How have you come to this place? I am Grimoire Weiss. This is Azure. Long have we been searching for you. Now come, stand. We shall awaken from this nightmare together. The one known as Azure extends his hand and pulls me from the cell. Though my eyes are slow and adjust to freedom, my ears are keen as ever, and they recognize the staccato sounds of heavy rain. I never thought to hear that again, I whisper. Would that not be such a terrible storm? Said Grimoire Weiss. Look at your feet. I force my eyes open and see water pulling around my ankles and lapping at my shins. There's so much of it. Yes, and More comes each moment we delay. If we do not good our escape, we shall drown in this castle. I know you are weak, but your only hope to survive this place. Time, that long forgotten friend has made its own known again. I nodded my head and swore to save my rescuers, no matter the cost. The castle catacombs are a maze, twisting upon themselves like an endless entrails of a giant. I squint down the dim corridors and proceed north. At the end of the corridor, I find a row of 20 gorgeous canopied beds resting atop a carpet of velvet, all covered in a thick layer of dusted cobwebs. Searching for the door to the next room, I come upon a shapeless mass of gray matter. It has been shoved against the side of the wall, and despite my fever, I think I see the outlines of a door just beyond. When I reach out a finger and touch a piece of the mass, it turns to dust and drifts away on the wind. Realization slowly dawns, and I fall to my knees and weep. Corpses. I face a mountain of charred and crumbling corpses. I look to it from the beds and back again until the horror dawns full upon me. Someone has piled these bodies into a tower to set them ablaze. Whether they are alive or dead, I do not know. And sanity will not permit me to consider the proposition further. I make a sound, whether scream or laughter, I cannot be certain. Then my mind grants me merciful blackness, and I find myself opening the door, leaving the most terrible of rooms. I squint down the dim corridors. We're gonna go south. I squint down to proceed dim corridors and proceed north. Oh, okay, we have to go east. North. Oh shit. Okay. Wow, this is just straight up Zork right now. East, at the end of the path, I find myself in a great hall with only the sounds of rain for comfort. The waterlogged red carpet squishes beneath my feet as I approach the center of the room. Once there, I behold a beautiful dining table upon which rests china and silver of the finest construction, as well as the remains of a fantastic feast. As my eyes continue to adjust, I see many chairs surrounding the table, each holding a dinner guest. Noticing movement, I approach a chair at the table's head, but the truth of the matter dawns on me. I recoil in horror. The host of the feast is a corpse, as are all the invited guests. An army of foul, wriggling insects have made their homes in their remains, and this is the movement I saw. The once splendid feast was now nothing more but a requiem for the damned. I take a moment to steady my shaking hands and slowly back away from the table. Desperate to lose sight of the abomination before me, my gaze lands upon the chairs which the dead were seated. This is a mistake, for the chairs proved to be even more terrible than the feast itself. Each one is covered in a layer of spikes that run from the seat, up the back, and down the arms. This displays the color of the carpet beneath my feet. I can only pray that the unfortunate diners were dead before when the meal began. For if not, it is a simple task to envision the agonized screams that must have sprung forth from their mouths. My mind grasps frantically and at the possibility that these souls had committed some terrible crime for which this is the punishment. Though in truth, I suspect they might have committed no crime at all, for there would be no tomorrow for these unfortunates. This was their last supper. Let's head north. Against all hope, we make it to the front door. Break it down! Someone cries, so I give myself to the effort. In tandem with Azure and White and Grimoire Vice, I slam my body against a thick, sturdy door. On the third try, it gives way, and we find ourselves sprawled on the ground inside this castle. The storm is in retreat. The clouds above are still dark and foreboding, but to the west, I can see a thin shimmer of sunlight trying to break through. How can I thank you? I join as tears join the rain on my cheeks. I would have surely died in there. Looking down, I suddenly notice my dress is in tatters. Oh man, this is supposed to be a girl? Ah, crap, I didn't actually pay attention. And she was trying to cover my exposed skin. Your dress, asked Weiss. Then you are a woman, madame. I am. I proffered to a smile. I suppose that comes something as a surprise, seeing as how I exist only in the form of words. I can see that the one known as Azure is disappointed the torn dress will be given no further description, but he hides it well. With a nod on the oh my god. With a nod and a shrug, the three of us set forth to our awakening. But behind us, an awakening of another kind is taking place. Black smoke fills the abandoned castle, providing the countless damned souls inside with their final shroud. After a moment, the castle's windows shatter with a mighty roar. A fresh breeze blows through the hallways and corridors, clearing the smoke away for good. As we watch in awe, uncountable black shadows slowly flicker to life, crossing to and fro in front of broken windows. The castle's dead must have awakened to their new life, as shades.
You have anything to say about that?
Hopefully there will be no labyrinth next time.
I hear that.
Thank you so much for saving me. I never want to have a dream like that again.
Okay, so this is definitely a man.
And another victim. This work certainly is trying.
I figured a book like you would be into all this word stuff, Vice.
Even I have my exceptions. Now let's be off.
No, why is it playing kinda? Okay, so you know what, let's turn on a bunch of expressions. Okay. A colony of massive sculptures was visible in the distance, their tall forms scraping against the sky. Vice and Azure had never seen a sight. Their eyes widened as they tried to take it in.
Those buildings must be huge if we can see them from this far away. What do you think, Vice?
As Vice considered his answer, the sun beat down on them with renewed ferocity.
Perhaps they are some manner of mirage.
Under this heat, a mirage or two would hardly be an unexpected sight. Azure nodded and wiped the spread out of his brow, leaving a trail of sand in his place. He thought he'd never been so thirsty. The ancient road they had walked was black and cracked with age. Here and there, thin wisps of grass pushed up against the rocky surface, as if defying those who had laid this material down over their home. The heat reflecting from the road made Azure lightheaded. His feet hurting, he crouched down to rest. I don't know how much longer I could do this. Is someone playing a joke on us or what? The complaint had already begun. Vice tried not to let his eyes roll too much. A joke, he said. No joke. This road leads to the city of art. Perhaps the path itself is simply some manner of grand artistic work. You don't sound very sure of yourself there. Perhaps not, but think of it this way. Might make it easier on you to bear. Azure glanced at Vice's grinning face, shook his head, and resumed walking. As time passed, Azure's feet grew more painful, his throat drier than he thought possible. He tried not to look further than the next step ahead, because the bright sunlight made him hesitant to trust his own senses. We are definitely getting closer, said Vice in an effort to cheer his companion. Yes, this much is certain. Encouraged, Azure lifted his gaze. Suddenly he stopped walking, choosing instead to stand in the middle of the road with his mouth and eyes wide open and finger pointing in the distance. Water! He cried. It's water! Water? Cried Vice. Preposterous! I don't see any water. Over there, just ahead of us. Look, the sun is reflecting off of it. Without waiting for a response, Azure sprang to life and bounded towards the side. What in the... There was no water. There was nothing but sand in every direction. Azure closed his eyes and sighed as Vice floated up behind him and chuckled softly. I believe this is known as a mirage, he said. Many a desert traveler has spoken of such things. Azure shook his head, bewildered. Suddenly he pointed off in the distance. His eyes grew wide once more. Wait, there it is! I just missed it! Look, it's right there! Azure sprinted off again, leaving Vice with no choice but to follow. After a few minutes of running, Azure came to a halt. I could have sworn it was right around here. Confused, he put his hands up to his eyes and rubbed them vigorously. As soon as he stopped, he noticed a blue shimmering pool of clear water just over the next rise. With a shout, he bounded off in search of it. The chase continued for nearly an hour until an exasperated Vice finally floated up behind Azure and struck him in the face with his cover. Enough, you blithering idiot! Stop this at once! There is no water here! Azure's face clouded. There isn't? There is not, and perhaps next time you will listen to me when I tell you as such. Vice paused for a moment and continued speaking in a slightly kinder tone. However, I suppose this mad chase was not altogether wasted. It seems we have arrived at the City of Art. Azure looked up, Stretched out before him was a row of impossibly tall sculptures. Their journey was at an end. "They're huge!" cried Azure, completely forgetting the heat and pain of the past few hours. "I've never seen anything so big." Each sculpture was formed from roughly the same shape, a tall rectangle that stretched upward to the sky, but that is where similarities ended. Most were covered with panes of glass that reflected light in 1,000 directions, while others seemed to be nothing but frames of steel. Some had tall spires on their tops, some possessed triangular caps. "What kind of city is this?" cried Azure. "Where are the people? Where are the houses?" "Perhaps this land is intended exclusively for artistic use." The debate continued as they made their way through the city. Miracles of artistry were everywhere. Great iron crates with wheels sat silent on steel rails. Beautifully carved works of lights of red, amber, and green dangled over every street. As they moved away from the massive sculptures, they found a great array of smaller ones. Some were covered in glass or brick, but many were composed of materials they had never before encountered. The sheer variety of colors and styles was staggering. Unable to find a theme or purpose to the abstract works around them, Azure and Vice suddenly went silent. On the outskirts of the city, they discovered 3 sculptures in the shape of humans. Azure uttered a sigh of relief as he approached them. "Finally, I was getting tired of modern art." The 3 statues were indistinguishable except for a single word chiseled into their right arms. One read Alpha, one read Beta, and the final one read Gamma. As Azure moved to touch the nearest statue, a bird flew from the top of one of the sculptures. Alighting on the statue's shoulder, it emitted a brief, beautiful song that took the form of words. "Only one form is real. The others are false. The real form will always speak the truth. The false ones will only speak lies." With that, the bird departed. As if on cues, the statues shuddered to life, acquiring color and form as they began to breathe. "Hey, look at that," said Azure. "They're alive." The triplets bowed low before Azure. "Please," said Alpha, "you have to get me out of this nightmare. I am real." "Stop lying," said Beta. He turned to Azure and threw his hands into the air. "Alpha's a fake. You know, I'm the real one." "What a load of crap," said Gamma. "Beta is a fake. Everyone knows I'm the only real one around here." Their respective pleas given, the 3 statues returned to their frozen state as silence once again enveloped the city. "When you consider all of the statements, only one of them could be the real thing," said Vice. Azure furrowed his eyebrows and considered his answer. "Only one form is real. The others are false. The real form will always speak the truth. The false ones will only speak lies." I need to reread them. "I don't have a clue." Azure took a long look at the statue and tried to clear his mind. Okay, so this is basically one of those binary puzzles. Let me get a piece of paper IRL for this. Okay, so if Alpha is real, that's 1. Stop lying. Stop telling the truth. Alpha's the true one. You know, I'm the fake one. What a load of crap. Beta is the real one. Everyone knows I'm the only fake one around here. Okay, luckily there's only 3, so they all can't be telling the truth, because if they're all telling the truth, it's gonna be weird. So let's work backwards. Like honestly, riddles are fun. So if Gamma is real, Beta is fake, which basically means that Beta's the fake. If Beta's the fake, then that basically means that he's saying Alpha is real. And they're the fake one. And then that basically would mean Alpha is real and Gamma is real, which cannot be the truth. So let's see what happens if it has to be beta. Because it doesn't make sense for okay, so it's gonna be beta. The real one is beta. Though Azure's voice betrayed a notable lack of confidence, he was relieved to see Weiss nodding at him. If Alpha were telling the truth, began Weiss in the dry tones of the lecturer, Beta and Gamma would be fakes. But in that case, Gamma's claim that Beta's the fake would be the truth, even though Gamma is a liar. Therefore, the theory crumbles. Now let us presume Gamma spoke the truth. That would make Alpha and Beta liars. In this situation, however, Beta is calling Alpha a liar, which will leave us with two statues telling the truth. Now, finally, let us assume Beta is telling the truth. If so, Alpha and Gamma's lies would make sense. Therefore, Beta must be real. As Weiss finishes his explanation, Alpha and Gamma crumbled soundlessly into dust, while Beta sprang to life once more. Congratulations, villager. Congratulations, villager, said Weiss in a cheerful voice. The time to awaken has arrived. Thank you for saving me, cried the villager. He dropped to his knees and bowed his head as low as it could go before an uncomfortable Azure pulled him to his feet. Why didn't you have a dream like this? Asked Weiss. Have you been to the city before? The villager slowly looked around the bizarre objects and sculptures that dotted the landscape, then shook his head. I don't think so. I mean, it's possible, right? There's no way I could have been to a place like this. But at the same time, I feel like I've seen it before. Deja vu, muttered Azure, just like the mayor. The vague sense of unease struck at Azure during the mayor's dream spread once more through his mind.
That was rough.
I am positive I have seen that place before.
Okay, that's enough. Don't need you getting all weird on me too. Okay, there. Now all the villagers can wake up, right?
Yes, if the mayor's assumption was correct. I think I have had enough wordplay to last a lifetime. Thank you very much.
You're telling me. Anyway, let's go see the mayor.
Whew. Okay, that was so much reading. That was kind of fun, though.
Oh, how wonderful. Thank you so much. Here, I have something for you.
Wow, this looks valuable. I can really have it?
Of course. It's apparently a weapon of some renown, but we have little use for it.
Well, we appreciate it.
Thank you again for everything.